So I went to my 61st high school reunion last weekend. It was very interesting. I found out that reunions either are something people really look forward to or they want nothing to do with. When I was telling people I was going to a reunion, there was the camp that said, oh, I would never go back to my reunion. And then there was the camp that said, oh, I had mine last year, or I had mine coming up, we had such a fantastic time. So it was so interesting to see the different attitudes that people have toward reunions. And I would assume it has to do with what your experience in high school was. If you had a bad experience in high school, obviously you're not going to want to revisit it. But average to good, I think that a lot of people do enjoy getting together with old friends. But the thing about reunions is you can't really call those people your friends because it's been so long, and many of them you didn't know. My graduating class was almost 300, so a lot of people I did not know in high school. But over the years, I found out that reunions have a different flavor. I think we had ours about every 10 years. And every 10 years, there was such a significant change in who we were as people that there was a very significant change in the whole feel and flavor of the reunion. I mean, when you're young and you go back, it's all about what you've been doing in the last 5 to 10 years and, where you are in accomplishing all of your goals and dreams. And then the next one is about, well, listen, I've gotten this far, what have you done? I've got my career and I've got my children and, it's a lot more competitive, I think. I think it's a lot more of establishing who you've become and, of course, wanting your peers to approve or, think that's great. But there is a competition element there, and that may be one of the things that some people don't like about reunions. But the 61st is a very, very different thing. By the time we are at the age we are now, we can see how unimportant all of those things were. All of the things that meant so much to us to share with our friends or to have achieved when we went back to previous reunions just don't seem important anymore. I mean, all the things about what was your career, who did you become, a dentist, a lawyer, the great family, what are your children doing, the wonderful vacations, the multiple homes. You know what? 61 years later, it really doesn't matter. What really matters is the feeling that you get of being with these people who were the same people that were with you at the beginning of your life, at the beginning of who you were going to become, who were with you in those formative years when you were shaping your personality. It's very interesting to be back with those same people 61 years later. And we had a tour of our high school. And so here we were standing in the foyer of the high school. All of these people, well, a great number of the people that I had been with 61 years ago in those same halls, we were actually back in those halls again, standing there. And looking around, I was just in awe of the years that have passed and what we have all become. And it didn't matter what we became as occupations or what we accumulated during our time. What mattered was the fact that we were all aware that this is the culmination of 61 years and that this may be the last time that we will all get together. And it makes you really, really understand and appreciate how unimportant so many of those other things are. I mean, I felt very lucky that we had all gotten to the point where it was just wonderful to be together. It just felt good to be back in a surrounding that helped shape you, with the people that helped shape you, the good, the bad, all of it didn't matter anymore. The fights that you had with people when you were in high school or middle school, all that matters really is the people that they've become. And so I think that this whole high school reunion was about appreciating who we are now, appreciating each other, savoring the time that we had to talk to each other and see how our lives turned out. I mean, I think this may have been the very best high school reunion because it had so much more meaning and so much more depth and a lot of comfort to have gotten to this point in our lives. So if you haven't been to one of your reunions, or if you haven't been to one in a while, you might want to consider going to the next one, because at our ages, you don't know how many next ones you may have, so don't miss a good opportunity, but also because it's fun to celebrate who we've become.